Alright, what's going on, guys? I'm back. We're having a look at it. We're having a look at another Pool 1 deck. I said in the last video we're probably going to be having a look at Spectrum next, and I decided, yeah, Spectrum's probably the way to go. It's probably the next easiest one to build. Now, if you don't have some of these cards, don't be scared. The thing is, with an ongoing Spectrum deck, you just, as long as you have Spectrum, just fill the deck up with ongoing cards. And we talked earlier about different cards like Angela being really good. You can always put Angela in to fill a spot until you've got the other cards. But basically the whole thing we want to look at is Spectrum. On reveal, give your ongoing cards +2 power. We're looking to synergize that with all the other ongoing cards that are usually pretty powerful. And just go off on a big turn 6, just pumping the board full, 8 power in one lane here and there, all sorts of different stuff. And we got a bunch of cards here. These are some of the better ongoing cards in Pool 1 that are going to take advantage of that. And honestly, even as you move up into Pools 2 and Pool 3, the deck's still decent, and you're mostly going to be using these cards anyway. We're going to swap it out for a few other ones. But let's just start from the start. Ant-Man ongoing, if you have 3 other cards here, +3 power. So he's a 1-cost 1 that's going to get +3 once you fill the lane, and with Spectrum another +2. Nightcrawler, as I've said before, Nightcrawler is just an overall good 1-cost card. Lets you get into those sneaky locations that are difficult, like in a Sanctum and Death's Domain. Locations that you can't play cards into, Nightcrawler is going to creep his way into, so that's why he's there. In Pool 1, he's just basically going to be in every deck because he's reliable for that reason. We got Armor, which is ongoing cards at this location can't be destroyed. Now, I told you in the last video that this is a good counter for destroy decks. Self-Destroy is a very strong archetype, and as you go up, it just gets more support. Armor is a very solid counter to that, but he's also really good at protecting your 1-costs like Ant-Man. Elektra is the bane of Ant-Man's existence in Pool 1, and since you're only playing 2 1-cost cards, unless you put the protection of Armor into your Ant-Man, you risk losing him from an opponent's Elektra. And believe me, they're going to be, as soon as Elektra comes into their hand, they're looking at your Ant-Man. So we do want to put them together. Pardon me. Colossus is here, can't be destroyed, moved, or have its power reduced. It's a pretty solid card. Your opponent's not going to be able to do anything to it. Colossus is coming down and he's staying there, and he's going to get a buff from Spectrum as well because he's ongoing. Mr. Fantastic lets you reach into those other 2 lanes, spreading 6 power across all 3 locations. Ongoing, adjacent locations have +2 power. Cap, your other cards have +1. So this is where ongoing starts to get pretty spicy because you can just keep buffing all your cards with ongoing abilities. Now, I've said before that Cosmo is the counter to unrevealed decks, and unrevealed decks can only really stop Cosmo with a card in Pool 1, specifically with a card like Enchantress. Remove the abilities of all ongoing cards in this location, but Enchantress can't go off if Cosmo's there. So when we have a big lane, maybe we have Ant-Man, Armor, Cap, maybe we want to put Cosmo there just to protect them all, just so that nothing bad can happen to that location from an Enchantress. Enchantress is in Pool 1. It's going to be in a lot of decks, especially on revealed decks, which is the other easiest one to make. So we want to make sure Cosmo's there to protect our important pieces. Now we do have Namor here. Namor gets +5 power if it's the only card you have there. Now with this sort of deck, you are just kind of going to be playing on tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you're building a pretty strong location over on, like, say, mid, we can drop Namor over to the left, and then we can just focus on the right. Because Namor by himself is 6 power for 4, but if he's by himself, he's 11 power on his own. That's ridiculous. That's insane. 11 power for 4 energy. We're going to take that to the bank every single day. Now, you all know Iron Man. You're going to double the power at that location. Of course, we're going to have Iron Man by himself with a Spectrum buff. He's putting 4. But with everything else, I mean, whatever lane you have Iron Man in, if it's a full lane of ongoings and you drop the Spectrum, you're going from putting 8 power there to 16 power thanks to Iron Man. Now, if we don't have Iron Man on turn 5, we do have Claw. Now, if we put Namor in the right location by himself, we can add another 6 to his location. So, if we think about it like that, Namor's 11 power plus the 6. We've got 17 power there. It's going to be pretty hard to contest, and that's just between 2 cards, and only one of them is actually there. So that's why we have Claw. Claw's going to be really good to synergize with Namor, who wants to be by himself. Then obviously we have Spectrum, the star of the show. It isn't on reveal, so what I want you to be aware of is if you're playing this deck, don't make the mistake of playing Spectrum in the Cosmo location. If you've got Namor by himself, and then you want to have Cosmo in like your full ongoing, because Spectrum wants to go wherever there's space, but not with Namor, just so we can maximize value. But if we don't see Spectrum on turn 6, our backup is Onslaught, which is going to double the ongoing effects at this location. So if we're dropping Onslaught on Mr. Fantastic, we're putting +4 power. You know, if we're dropping it on Claw, then Claw's putting 12 power. Onslaught 9-man does double, so you get double, which is pretty cool. Ant-Man obviously gets double. All that stuff is going to get doubled. So all of the we're thinking about the buffs specifically. Obviously, Onslaught can't buff Namor, but Onslaught on like Cosmo or Onslaught on Armor, that's not going to do anything. So to get good value out of Onslaught, we kind of want to think about our placement of that as well. Now there are locations that are going to be a bit sticky for us, specifically Deep Space that I talked about before, which cards don't do anything in that location. The other one specifically just says, hey, you know, you're not going to do any ongoing abilities here, and that's the Isle of Silence. Isle of Silence, no ongoing effects happen in that location. So we want to look out for that location. That's probably where we want to drop our Spectrum. But there is also a good location for us, which is Onslaught Citadel, which is exactly what Onslaught does. Ongoing effects here are doubled. So that's probably where we want to fill our lane with our best cards like Mr. Fantastic and Cap. The only other thing you have to look out for, like I said, is Enchantress. I don't think there's really anything else that is going to hurt you too much in Pool 1 specifically when it comes to what we're doing here. Unless, of course, you're versing another one and they drop their Cosmo in a different lane to your Cosmo and you've got Namor in the other location. That's going to be a little bit painful, but that's still fine. There are alternatives as well, so if you happen to don't have stuff like Onslaught, then we can have a look at different cards. Now, there is Lizard. Lizard isn't ongoing, but he isn't the ongoing that we want because he's going to neg 4 power, but he is a 2-5 that can go 2-7 with Spectrum, so it is one to consider. I do see it in some Spectrum lists, just because if your opponent doesn't fill that lane, you're gaming. Punisher, he's not the best card, but if you don't happen to have some of the other ones, he is going to get +1 power for each enemy card in that location. So even though he's only 3-2, he can go to a 3-6 if they fill the lane. They're probably going to avoid a Punisher lane, but, you know, you can always try to get value out of it. There is also Blue Marvel, so if you don't have Onslaught, or maybe you don't have the other 5 costs, you can just go Blue Marvel. All your other cards are going to get +1 power. If you do have Onslaught, you're giving every other card +2 power, so it becomes a Spectrum in itself, which is pretty Gucci. He just doesn't buff himself, but that's fine. We don't really care about that. So he's a nice alternative as well if you happen to have him. And as you go up into the ranks, you can get other cards. Ebony Maws are pretty good. 1 cost. It's 1-7 with Spectrum. It's going to be 1-9. You can't play him after turn 3, but his ongoing ability is you can't play cards there. So you're usually playing him on turn 3 with something like a Lizard, where you already have another 1-cost card that's down. You know, it is what it is if you want to play him or not. Now, Rogue is an interesting one. It isn't on reveal, but it becomes ongoing. It's kind of like an Enchantress that you can use in this sort of deck. Rogue steals the ongoing ability from a random enemy card at this location. So she can be pretty good if you play her on like turn 4, turn 5, even turn 3 if they happen to have already played an ongoing card there that you want to take the ability of. Like if they have an armor, you can take the armor's ability. And it doesn't change anything for your opponent, but it means that you have the ongoing card now. So she's an interesting card and one to consider as you go up. Warpath is another one, so if you have any empty locations, you can go +4 power on him. So he becomes a 4-cost 9 power as long as you have a location free. So where this is interesting is if you're playing with the one where it puts 6 power in that other location. That's something to consider because it doesn't become a dead location to you. With Mr. Fantastic as well, you know, you put 8 power there or whatever. It's one you can consider putting in, but it's no Namor, of course. Professor X, it locks down a location, so no cards can be removed, added. You can't move cards into it, so it's not like you can Nightcrawler your way in. Nothing happens in that location. That location is done for the rest of the game on turn 5. But all the cards there can get buffed. So if you've got a nice ongoing board in a location, you can go boom Spectrum and buff it all up and pretty much guarantee you win a lane. The other one as well is Sandman that can be played on turn 5. It just means turn 6, your opponent's only playing 1 card. And you might think, if you're a new player, you might think, oh, that sounds a bit weird because aren't you just going to play your 6-cost card anyway? But in Pool 3, there's a lot of decks that want to play like 17 cards on the last turn, and Sandman is a good counter to that, and he's ongoing. So those are things that we can consider for improvements, but what we're looking at right now is the Pool 1 version, what we're going to do in Pool 1. So let's jump into a few games, just like last time. We're just going to jump in and we're going to play 3 games and just see what happens. If I put any cuts in it, which I probably have because I didn't say anything for the whole time that was matchmaking, it's honestly, it's just matchmaking between games. I'm just going to cut. So if you see cuts, I'm not trying to be cheeky or anything. That's pretty interesting because we've got Sinister London, and we are going to play Ant-Man in it. Oh, good. Okay, it hit. So Spider-Ham, one of the new cards, transform the highest cost card in your opponent's head to a pig. Now we did have both Onslaught and Spectrum, and it did hit the one that I didn't care about, so that's good. Crimson Cosmos, a little bit problematic. Cards that cost 1, 2, or 3 can't be played here, but we have Sinister London, so we don't really care about that. We are just going to drop... I don't want to fill up on like Nightcrawlers, so we're just going to play Nightcrawler there and see what happens. We can move Nightcrawler around if we need to. We can put him in Crimson Cosmos, and that's not going to be an issue. Now the only problem here is if they have Hazmat. Okay, interesting. We're going to drop Cosmo there. This might be an on-reveal sort of deck, so I'm going to do a cheeky little snap. Oh, they've snapped back. Because I think locking down 2 lanes with Cosmo is going to be pretty good. Yes, it is an on-reveal. That's going to be very good for us. Oh, we don't have anything for turn 4, so that's really annoying. We are probably going to go Iron Man and then Spectrum. If we get the Iron Man in the Crimson Cosmos, it could be pretty gamer. So I don't particularly care about the Quantum Realm location. Oh, we're thinking Abomination. And an armor. I'll take the armor. I'll take that. I will take that. Can I win both lanes? So I don't care about the Crimson Cosmos. But if I play that there... Now, obviously the Cosmos is going to stop the Spectrum from activating here. But this gives me 10 power here with Iron Man. And then she moves over there. Yeah, I win this. She might not move over there. Does that matter? Not really, because he's only 0 power. So if she moves there, she moves there. If she moves there, I should still win this location. But this, putting her there, Sinister London will move it to one of these, and then she's going to buff everything by 2, except for the Nightcrawler. If she moves there, I'm pretty sure I win. But it's Quantum Realm, so it doesn't matter too much. So we see the Misty Knight, and we see the Wand. Yeah, sweet. Sweet! Sweet! We got an 8 cube! With a Pool 1 deck and Infinite Rank. Let's go. Boosh! I feel good about that. Hell yes. That Cosmo was crazy right there. That Cosmo went crazy, brother. I love that. I love that for us. As I said, this deck still goes pretty hard as you go up. The only thing you really change in it as you move up is you take the Nightcrawler out. Maybe the Onslaught. If I was playing this seriously in Infinite Pool 3, I'd probably take out the Onslaught. Put in like I'd definitely take out the Nightcrawler. I'd probably put in Lizard. And I'd probably take out the Onslaught for something else as well. Like the Warpath maybe. We kind of want that Superflow active, I think. Do we care? Do we care if we kill the Superflow? Because I could just drop Mr. Fantastic there and then go Cap, and then turn 3 go Colossus and Armor. So I don't need the Onslaught. Yeah, I think I'll kill it. It's a tough call. It's a tough call to decide. But we don't need it. Oh, we're versing a move deck with Fisk Tower. So I could drop Cap here. Go hard into Asgard. Because then I can drop these 2 in there. But I do have Namor next turn. I can just do Namor. I might do that. Okay, we see the Spider-Man 2099. If he gets moved here, I'm in trouble, so I'm kind of definitely going to play it this way. I have reveal first. I might snap back. I have reveal first, so the armor's going to protect us from the Spider-Man. What do we see here? Surely he's not moving into Fisk Tower. Miles Morales, Spider-Ham's going to hit the Spectrum. That's okay. If we see Onslaught, then we're gaming. Okay. We got 2 things you can do here. We can go Claw there, or we can go Claw here. The reason I want to think about it just a little bit. If we play Claw here, we can go Namor there, and I think we're good.
Friendly neighborhood Spider-Man here.
Oh, that's fine. We just play Namor for 11. That gets us to 19. Iron Man would only get this to 16. Iron Man and Nightcrawler get this to 16, 20. That only gets us to 19. That's going to be 8. That's 14 if he Heimdalls. Yeah, I think we're good. I think we played that way. Oh, he Heimdalled there. I don't know why I didn't think if he Heimdalled there, that would be a problem.
I am Iron Man.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough, fair enough, fair enough, fair enough. Yeah. Fair enough. No, that's fair. That's fair. I didn't consider that. I probably should have just Namor'd. Then I could have Iron Man there on that last turn. That's a shame. That's a shame. That was just... It's a shame. Overthought it. Overthought it. I could have Namor'd and then if all else failed on that. See, sometimes you just make bad errors. That was winnable. That was winnable and I blew it. I blew it. That's on me. Okay, we got Bifrost. Good start with Ant-Man. Play Ant-Man there. Korg putting a rock in the deck. More rocks! We're going to be seeing rocks all game. Oh, this could be a problem for us. I think this is like one of those bounce decks. Because they got the Iron Fist as well. I don't think we're too worried.
Avengers! Assemble.
Is it a move deck? Yikes. Okay. They definitely got a better card than us. Yeah, I can understand why you would snap there. There isn't really a good play here. Just drop them. A very strange deck. It's got movement synergies, but that Vulture's about to go hard, by the way. Might have to do it this way. I want to onslaught there. Oh, I'll save it. I'm gonna think about this. Do I consider the mid lane lost? What if they Heimdall again?
I am Iron Man.
Far out. If they Heimdall again, I just have to beat 15. Well, gee whiz! I wasn't expecting to win that. I was very much thinking that was a loss. The Shang-Chi came out of nowhere. So Onslaught won us that. I don't know why they didn't play the left. I was leaving the left because I thought if they Heimdall again, everything's going to get moved to the left. I'm not going to be able to contest 23 power or 20 power, whatever it was at the time. Would have been more because Vulture would have gotten +5 on the left. And I was assuming they were going to Heimdall on the left to fill up that lane. I wasn't expecting a Shang-Chi at all. That's a very nice Shang-Chi as well. That's very nice. But all I was thinking was I just have to contest the power that they're going to push over from the right. Which I didn't think was going to be very much, so I thought, yeah, I'll just leave 5 there. That should win that lane if they do what I think they're going to do. They didn't, but we'll take that W. Get a little bit of the cubage back that we've lost. Sweet, we'll take that. Apparently we have something that can be upgraded. Oh, it's our Iron Man. Yeah, so that's Spectrum as you saw. Hey, look, that did better than the on reveal in Pool 3. Mostly because, like I said, the deck's very similar when you get into Pool 3 anyway. It's not very different. Super playable. Consider the options of swapping cards if you don't have them, that you might need to. And don't be afraid if you don't have all of the ongoing cards, maybe you're missing like armor or something, you can always just throw in some of the just general good staple cards like Angela. Lizard, if you have it, is fine. Lizard does fine. We talked about before as well Scarlet Witch. Now, Scarlet Witch can actually get rid of the Isle of Silence, because Isle of Silence says that ongoing ability, you can't use ongoing abilities here. But she's an on-reveal, so you can get rid of that location with a Scarlet Witch if you want to throw her in, if you don't have one of the other cards. Especially if it becomes a hot location. And you do have to consider that sort of thing. Punisher is perfectly fine as an ongoing card, but it is one that you're probably going to want to swap out at some point. He is objectively weak for your 3-cost slot, but if you don't have like Namor but you have all the rest, you can throw him in instead. That's fine. It doesn't need to be exactly to the T. Swap it around, have fun with it. That's what the game's all about, is having fun. So I hope you enjoyed it. Consider throwing together a Spectrum deck. Just like on reveal, you can pretty much make that out of the box as soon as you've gotten into, I think after you finish the recruit season, but even then I think Spectrum's pretty low on the list of cards that you pull. I think it's in the 1 to 14. Onslaught's going to be one. That was one of the last pull 1 cards that I got, but you know, is what it is. You either get him or you don't. He's not necessary for the deck. Spectrum's the key player, and as long as you've got ongoing cards to back her up, then you're fine. The deck's going to run. Ant-Man you're probably going to have straight away. I'm pretty sure he's another one from early on in the game, and then you just put the rest together. So don't stress about it. Have fun. If you're new to the game, just have fun, experiment, but this is where you want to work towards as you go through pull 1. But if you do get good with the Spectrum deck and you have fun with it, there isn't a lot to do when it comes to improvements. All of this is just stuff to consider. You know, like Professor X is going to be probably the one that you do end up putting in just because it guarantees a win. You know, all the rest of the cards is what it is. The only other thing that sometimes people do is they just throw in general like good counter cards if you're coming up against a deck that's very popular in the meta a lot. The main one I can think of is Shang-Chi. Sometimes you just throw Shang-Chi in because it just deals with stuff. Shang-Chi is a fantastic card, and I really wish I had that nice rarity one that old mate had that we just first. But anyway, that's me for this video. I hope you had fun, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you consider picking up a Spectrum deck. See you next time.